Texas Tech has a chance to do something they haven't done in the Big 12 in over a decade. Start conference play out 4-0. In today's video, we'll discuss why the Red Raiders will beat Baylor with the three keys of the game, including why Behren Morton and getting him off to a quick start is absolutely critical for the Red Raiders on Saturday afternoon. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And listen, you know we're interactive here. I got to hear from you guys. What is the biggest key for Texas Tech to beat Baylor on Saturday afternoon for, the homecoming game out in the 806? And I already know there will be somebody in the comments. RC, they just have to score more points. Let's use our critical thinking skills here, people. Let's actually get a little nuanced. Why not, right? Okay, give me your key to the game for Texas Tech to improve to 4-0 in the Big 12 with a win over Baylor on Saturday. All right. Let's jump into this. And before we actually get into the three keys of the game, I actually have a bonus one because really this is something you can't see on the field, if that makes sense. If you remember 2 years ago, on the night where the biggest star in Texas Tech football program history was inducted into the Ring of Honor, you may know his name, Patrick Mahomes, three-time Super Bowl champion, was inducted into the Ring of Honor, right? They played Baylor, did the Red Raiders. And to put it nicely, Texas Tech, I don't know if there is any way to say it nicely. They got their ass kicked against Baylor that night. And Joey McGuire mentioned that in his pregame presser in terms of the week leading up to Baylor. And the Red Raiders definitely haven't forgotten it, okay? And I think that that's going to be a chip on the shoulder for this team, and the coaching staff is going to use it this week in the sense of, again, we talked about it in the preview video, that Baylor loss was the first loss by Texas Tech at home against the Bears in 10 tries. Okay, they are now 10-1 in their past 11 matchups out in the 806 against the Baylor Bears. I think that is a, bonus key, as I called it earlier, for the Red Raiders to have that chip on their shoulder to get some demons out and really just make sure that they know, hey, that was a fluke at home. That's not going to happen again in the Joey McGuire era. All right, let's jump into the actual keys. I mentioned that you got to get Behren off to a quick start, and I really truly believe that. And obviously that means you got to get Taj Brooks involved. I think everybody knows that you need to get his typical carries out there anywhere between 22 to 28 because he's, arguably the second best running back in all of college football behind Austin Jante up at Boise State. But with the Baylor linebacking duo that we discussed in the preview video, I think it's of the utmost importance for Zach Kittley and this Red Raider offense to get some easy throws for Behren Morton early on in this game. And the reason being is this. Yes, there will be play action opportunities. Yes, there will be RPO opportunities. But you have to make that Baylor secondary respect just the, quote, generic passing game, I guess you could call it, for Texas Tech in the sense of use some drag routes, right? Some easy opportunity throws for Behren Morton with Josh Kelly across the middle of the defense. A quick, easy throw to Jalen Conyers right there at the tight end spot. Use your playmakers and get them involved often on the outside and really make things easier for not only Taj Brooks later on in the game, but also Behren Morton for those play action and RPO type sets to really even be more effective. Because if they don't respect your passing game, and by the way, I'm not saying Baylor's not going to respect Behren Morton as a passer. I'm saying their main focus is going to be Taj Brooks, and rightfully so. But if you can make them pay early in terms of beating them through the passing game, I think that that's where things really open up, and you could see a potential just absolutely bomb go off for this Texas Tech offense in terms of getting to that 40-point mark potentially. All right. This was a key to the game, and really the next key was, too, for the Arizona game. And I think it's going to be really two of the biggest factors for the Red Raiders moving forward this year. We'll start with key number 2, contain, contain, contain. I'll take 8 more defensive performances like the Red Raiders had out in Arizona. Now, is that realistic to expect? Probably not, especially from Jacob Rodriguez. But if you can keep Sawyer Robertson contained in the pocket and force him to be a pocket passer, I haven't seen it yet, but I don't think he can beat you, okay? Sawyer Robertson is a guy where he will have a massive chip on his shoulder going back to the 806 and playing in front of numerous family members, being an 806 kid, right? I get that. He's going to have that chip on his shoulder. But if you can make him a pocket passer and really not eliminate, but limit the opportunities he has with his legs in this one, I think that's a bona fide way to win. Now, how do you do this if you're Texas Tech? First and foremost, set the edge. You don't have to necessarily get home, but force Sawyer Robertson to step up in the pocket. And then that's where Texas Tech has done a really good job over the past 2 weeks getting pressure on the quarterback through the A, B, and C gaps, okay? So that's one way to do that. Another way, stay in your rush lanes. Don't overcommit, right? Don't go out selling for the sack and allowing him to have a massive lane to get out of the pocket and then go see what he can do with his legs or maybe throw on the run. That's another way. Force him to navigate the pocket and be a traditional passer, because if he beats you that way, tip of the cap, man, because I haven't seen it yet from him. So if Texas Tech can do that and really not allow him to extend plays with his legs outside of the pocket, not only in terms of throwing the football, but rushing the football as well, I think that is pivotal for the Red Raiders. And if you limit those opportunities, I really think that the Texas Tech secondary has gotten a lot of crap this year. But over the past 2 games, they've been pretty damn good in terms of considering what's happened. And really, it's been in Big 12 play. They've been pretty good outside of the Cincinnati game. And you didn't have Braylon Lux there. You see how Braylon Lux is such a pivotal piece to that Texas Tech secondary. He is back and healthy off the injury report. The only starting member of the Texas Tech secondary on the injury report is the only player questionable for this game, and that is Chapman Lewis with a hamstring injury. Hopefully he can give it a go and really make life difficult for Sawyer Robertson. And the way to do that, again, is contain, and keep him in the pocket and force him to be a pocket passer. All right, 5-0. That's what Texas Tech is this season when they, do this key number 3 that I have. And I'm sure y'all know what it is, because it's really part of the brand that Joey McGuire has discussed. It's take 3. And I'm not saying you got to take 3 in this one, but you do have to win the turnover battle. And that's where Texas Tech is 5-0 this season, when they win the turnover battle. And this is going to be a key to the game and key to really any game for the remainder of the season for the Red Raiders. And odds are they likely don't win the turnover battle in every game moving forward. But if they can, they're more than likely going to win. At least that's what history has shown us so far this year. Now, the weather forecast does, as of right now, at the time of this recording on Thursday, October 17th, calls for a chance of rain out in the 806 around game time, which is scheduled for 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon at Jones AT&T Stadium. So ball security will be a big factor in this game, not only for Texas Tech, but also Baylor as well. If the Red Raiders can force a turnover early and really make life difficult in terms of adding on to the crowd, in terms of the noise, because this is going to be a raucous environment. Again, it's homecoming for Texas Tech, and there is going to be really a lot of vengeance that Texas Tech wants to show in this game, because they want to get back at Baylor for what they did to them 2 years ago at home when Patrick Mahomes went into the Ring of Honor, right? And the best way to do that is get a turnover early and really make life difficult for Baylor and put them behind the 8 ball and get that crowd involved out in the 806. So again, the 3 keys for me, and 2 of them I think we're going to talk about all year long, really, in terms of containing mobile quarterbacks. It's something that Tim DeRuyter's defenses have struggled with in the past, but they've done a better job of it over the past 2 games. And then obviously win the turnover battle. But key number 1 in this one, in terms of what we went over first, I think you got to get Behren comfortable early, and I think you will off the bye week. And I want to end the video here in just a second by saying this before we go. It would not shock me at all if this is the week we see more of Micah Hudson. And the reason being is this, okay? You look at kind of how things develop for typical freshmen and some of these inordinate, just crazy talented guys, and I think Micah Hudson is part of it. Sometimes it just takes them a while to get involved in the offense. You think about how things work in the NFL in terms of rookies off of a bye. That's really where you see some of these guys project forward and show some of their true potential, right? I think that that's where Micah Hudson is. Now, I'm not saying Micah Hudson is going to come in and be, a 10-catch, 100-yard guy. No, I think he'll play more snaps, and I think he'll be more involved after picking up the playbook a little bit more, making sure he's healthy, going through the motions and figuring out what he can and can't do at the college level at this given time. I think that that's really where we're at here. So don't be surprised if you see a little bit more of Micah Hudson against the Baylor Bears on Saturday afternoon, but that's going to do it for your 3 keys to the game for Texas Tech and why I think the Red Raiders will beat Baylor on Saturday and improve to 4-0 for the first time in the Big 12 since 2013. All right, before you head out of here, though, give me your biggest key to the game for Texas Tech to beat Baylor down on the pinned comment below. And if you want to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans here on YouTube, follow these 3 simple steps for me. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the Back to 12 squad today.